Why, hello there. How's everybody doing? I'm doing well. Welcome back to my channel. We're going to do an update for my results in poker on April 2025. Before I get into it, I just want to say something. We got copyright striked by YouTube. Now, not copyright striked, sorry, community striked for promoting gambling content. Now, I set all of my videos as not being suitable for children, but YouTube have decided that they're going to come with their own guidelines to fix this problem of promoting gambling to children. What they have done is absolutely messed everything up for poker content creators, and I think what they're doing is extremely dumb. I do think there's something that they should do, but the way they're doing it is dumb, and I'm going to use my democratic right to call them idiots. They're just basically, I mean, they're actual poker creators that actually make money from this. I don't make money from this. I want to, but it seems quite unlikely I will. So I'm just going to put a disclaimer here. Let's get this on the disclaimer. Please no gamble. You not guaranteed win. To win. If you are a kid, you fuck right off. Do not watch video. Thank you. Okay, YouTube are happy now that they've done my disclaimer. Wonderful, I can actually talk to adults about poker. Yeah, so moving on to this graph, you can see we had a winning month, and I'm very happy to announce a winning month because last month I had a losing month. My best one of the year, we'll go through the results just to show you the graph here. This is GG. Almost all of my volume is GG. I have some MTTs and I did a little bit of stars. You'll be happy to know, or sad to know, I don't know, that I'm not playing any apps anymore. I'll tell you why a bit later. Yeah, we won about 220 buy-ins. We actually started running bad in all-in EV as well, which hasn't happened for a while. So I'm happy about that because we can now have this self-entitlement about running bad in all-in EV, which is something I've been missing for the last couple of years. Okay, so let's move on to the main details. Okay, so GG Poker, this is where almost all of my volume is at. We won about $4,827.50 on the table. It's obviously a very good month. In rake back, we got about $910. If anyone's wondering about the amount of rake we paid, it's a very good question. I never actually noted that down, but I could just find out quickly if people are curious. We can come 5,900 in rake contributions. So, sorry, on average I expect to get around 30% in rake back overall without bad B jackpots. It hasn't worked out this month, but other months I've been luckier with the amount of money I've had in bonuses and stuff like this. So yeah, also it's quite a well-known thing that GG Poker really want to restrict winners on the website because they're scumbag. I mean, they're lovely people. So, excuse me, on the MTT front, we won just about $214. We actually had two relatively deepish runs. We did have one Sunday Million where we got to like the top 500. I can't remember which event it was. It was one of, I think it was the anniversary event. We got pretty far in the anniversary event, which is earlier this, and we got like a $900 cash. And then, considering that event has like over 10k people in, I think that's not a bad result. And then we had another one, I think it was last Sunday, we had a deep run where we actually got to the top 200 at the Sunday Million. We nearly day 2'd it for the first time. Day 2 is, I haven't done a single day 2. It was quite demoralizing because we actually had a decent sized stack, and we decided to jam it in there blind v blind and lost it basically. I say decent size stack, we had a mid stack, so we could have had a potential for a deep run there. The reason I play these MTTs is just so that I could have the potential to go deep and win like 10k or more in like one sitting, and that would basically just, I would put almost all of that into my bankroll, and it would just like allow me to move up the stakes so much quicker. So it's kind of just a gamble, really. It's not something I, long term I expect to be profitable, because I am picking quite soft games. But there's just huge variance involved. We played a bit of Stars Cash as well. Not much to say. Maybe we played 2 hours. Played some 200 now. Did try to play a bit of Zoom, because the games on GG were just dead on that particular day. Yeah, and just about live poker and apps. I will return to playing live poker at some point. Just at the moment, I'm not. I don't really enjoy live poker. I've already mentioned this, but I just think the online ecosystem is such that's probably one of the better places to get games when you play a certain limit. Not to mention that 1-2 live will always be insanely beatable for anybody who has at least double-digit brain cells. So that's good. App games, I've stopped playing app games mainly because the rake is extremely high. There's not a huge amount of good games on there. There are good games on there, but the rake is so extreme that it's even worse than GG. I decided just not to bother playing. I mean, also the prospect of playing like 5-10 on an app is in itself like quite tough too, because if you do actually run good, they cannot even restrict you. I had it where I ran pretty well and won a few K in like a couple of sessions, and then like the club that I was on just like restricted me almost instantly. I mean, I managed to get back onto the club eventually, but at that point I had kind of like demoralized by apps, because I also just had like a massive downswing as well on the apps. If I didn't play apps at all this year, I would probably be up like 3 or 4 more K. That's how bad it's. Yeah, just to highlight the grand total then, we won just over 6K for the month. We played about 71 hours. Now, I did mention in the last video, I felt very burned out at the end of March. So I did take a break from the game, just around about 7 or 8 days. Things. Yeah, our monthly hourly is $85 per hour. That would be very nice for the rest of the year. If we did achieve that for the rest of the year, we would make 100K. However, that's just the positive side of variance in poker. Sometimes you will just play and make absolutely nothing. And just my year-to-date targets. This is the average buy-in amounts. What we're really trying to get is build our bankroll up so that we can start playing games where our average buy-in is about $625. So what that means is 100 BPs on average. Our buy-in would be we'd be buying into 1 table of 1K an hour and 3 tables of 500 an hour, and we would be playing them at a time. That would mean our average big blind would be $6.25, because that's roughly what I've worked out round about where I want my buy-in to be based on what I expect my win rate might be. I think I might have to revise those figures at some point. This month our ABI was 369. Now it's lower than last month. The reason I put that down too is we didn't force as many bad games, and we just tried to play the good games. There's some advantages to that and disadvantages to that. One of the disadvantages is the lower IBI. One of the advantages is you probably win a bit more money. It's pushed our average by IBI. IBI? I keep saying IBI. ABI. Our average ABI to somewhere between 310 320. You can see it's probably about half of what it needs to be for the year. The goal was always to slowly, because we didn't have the bankroll to play this, and to be honest, we still don't have the bankroll to play this. And the goal was that we would spend the first 4 or 5 months grinding, keeping our expenses low, building the bankroll up so that we can hit the target ABI, or like move up so we can get to the target ABI, the 625. And what would probably mean is we'd probably have to go above that. I mean, generally that would be the goal anyway. We would try and play more and more 1K an hour games. That was the goal. I have actually kind of got to the point after this month where I could start taking shots at 1k now, which is what I really want to do. But I've then decided to make the wonderful decision to go to America and see my fiance, which is going to cost a little bit of money. So we're taking some money from the bankroll out. So we're going to be, grinding it out at the same sort of limits that we have been doing. But all we need is another good month, and we'll be able to do that anyway. So I'm positive we can start to take shots at 1k soon. However, it does mean that it gets quite unlikely we would hit our 100k goal. And just to go through some of the other details, this is a monthly average, about 2.4k. Obviously, that's never going to net you 100k in a year, but it's just variance, of course. This would be 30k, 28k, something like that. And that hourly is about $28. Realistically, I expect the hourly by the end of the year to be above. If it's a bad year, to be above 30. Anyway, if it's a good year, it depends on the variance. It's going to be like way above 50. I'd say on average year, it's probably going to be about 40 to 45. So yeah, I would expect this to go up. However, there's no guarantees with anything. You just need to have, you just need to keep playing good poker, and see what happens. Basically, if you're a good enough player, the variance will take care of itself over the long run, even if you have a bad year. So yeah, here are some conclusions. This is the biggest month of the year, but as we've already discussed, it's not really likely to be enough. We have to win 90k in 8 months. Now that's not impossible, but we're going to be heavily relying on winning a bad beat jackpot at 500 now, or maybe if we start taking shots at 1k now, we just play 1k now and we hit the big bad beat jackpot where you win like 40, 50 buy-ins on 1k, and that would give us you do the maths, it would give us like 50k, 40k. We're kind of relying on that sort of thing, or we're going to get a Sunday Million Bink, something like that. That would give us the desired amount of, that would basically put us right on track to do it. So we're kind of just relying incredibly on luck at this point. However, it's not impossible, so I'm not giving up. The main thing that we're trying to do is hit our logistical goals, which I talked about in my original bankroll management video. I just haven't hit the volume goals. The bankroll goals themselves are kind of, I would be very, if I'm not taking money out for vacation, I would be hitting those goals right now. I'd be ready to start taking 1k now shots, but I'm just gonna have to keep grinding and maybe see what the situation's like in 2 weeks or a month or 2 months or 3 months. Yeah, just some other things. Yeah, the volume is down a bit because of we took a week off at the start of April. I did think that I would take some, I have planned to take some vacation down. The problem is it hasn't been the vacation time I've taken. It's just simply been the volume we've actually put in has been. I'm not a person who's mentally, or was capable of grinding out proper full-time hours in this game over a long period of time. So I've had to kind of build myself up to do that, and I've been doing that for at least a year. If you saw me, if you would look at me 2 years ago, I would struggle to put in more than, if I was putting in 15 hours of poker of playtime a week, I would be burned out by the end of the week. So that's kind of where I've had to come from. So yeah, we've taken time to get our volume up, and we really need to increase our volume to hit our logistical goals. And just to cover some of the final points, we didn't really force any too much bad action on GG. We've been focusing on the good action. That obviously lowers your average buy-in, but you get slightly better results, I would say. That being said, there is some problems with that because the way GG poker operate is the more money you win, especially if you start playing higher stakes. They don't really like that, and if they find any excuse to enforce their security and ecological policy, they will give you warnings for bum hunting, which I'll be honest, a lot of people complain about this. I think they're quite, in a way, it's kind of hypocritical from GG, because they do say on their website, they advise you that you focus on playing on good tables, but apparently you're not allowed to bum hunt. And I think what they mean is like, you can't really follow fish around. If the fish don't want to play on your table, they come and sit back an hour later. Don't go back and don't follow them around. Is basically what they're trying to say. I think that's the way it looks at it, but they've created an environment where it is almost impossible to be a profitable poker player without doing this kind of thing. But like, what subsequently happens is you get warned if you do stuff like this. So I try not to do it. There will be times where a fish will come and join 500 now pool that I played against literally 30 minutes ago, and I just won't sit on the table because I don't want to be in trouble for that kind of thing. And I'll open sit the lobby, and or I'll play a table for like 10 minutes where it's likely that the next recreational that joins might sit on my table. It's not really glorious things to do, but like, when you're paying 11 big blinds per 100 in rake on 200 now, and about 8 on 500 now, then this is including BBJ fees, then it's probably, and you're trying to win 3 to 4 BBs per 100 in win rate, then this is what you have to do. If you want to sort of like break even, or you lose and then try and win a little bit post rake back, have a very low win rate and put in a lot of volume, you don't need to worry about this. But if you're doing what I'm doing, then you do. And that's just being completely honest with you. This is just how it works in the game of poker, unfortunately. Now, some people ask, why don't you play on other websites that are better rake? And I'll say, okay, I would love to play on other websites that are better rake, but there are no games. There are no games on 500 now. There are games on 200 now. There are no games on 500 now to 1K now. Unless you want to play against, regs all day, which is going to be very difficult to do. Yeah, final thing we're targeting. We're trying to uptake our volume goals. So we're going for 120 hours this month. Next month we'll have another vacation, so we won't be able to hit over 100 hours. We'll basically take probably about 2 weeks off, because we're going on vacation, and then we'll come back and we'll play some more poker but we'll be trying to do 30 hours per week consistently for the rest of the year, and we'll see how that goes. This is the final segment of the video. We're just looking towards the future. Now, the reason I started making YouTube videos was I wanted to document my journey on this Project 100K, as I call it, goal. So the second reason I wanted to like make videos is I felt like I could offer some insight into professional poker, and there wasn't a lot of people sharing 500 now content, and I know a lot of people are quite interested in 500 now. Now, there's a reason why not most people don't share content on 500 now. It's because outside of people who are actually content creators or coaches, they're trying to make their money by making content, rather than, even though they can maybe make money in poker. Most people who are like actual pros don't want to make content because there is absolutely zero advantage in giving away any part of your strategy or thought process for free. They want to make content because either they want to sell coaching, or YouTube will give them some revenue you know, and that's it. And I was thought it was quite possible that I could actually make enough videos with my play and explains, maybe a few videos without going into too much effort with the editing, because I'm not really an editor and I don't want to pay people to edit for me. So without doing too much effort or putting too many hours in, I could make some play and explains, maybe a few other videos, just for the sake of it, because I enjoy doing them. And then I could maybe get monetized. Maybe I could make a little bit of money, not a lot of money. It might add up over the year to be like $1,000, you know, or something like that. It's not an insignificant amount of money, but like just something just a side income, because like because you want to have like different income sources in case poker doesn't go well, and that was my goal. And YouTube have basically gone and made it seem very unlikely that I can achieve that. It would have taken me a while to achieve that, maybe 6 months, maybe a year. But you know, if you've got to start somewhere, basically. So yeah, I would say with that, I have to think my long-term future on YouTube. Either I'm just going to stop making that many videos and I might just make a monthly update, or I will just keep producing content and carrying on to see if I can get monetized, and also just build some kind of coaching platform or coaching for profit program or something like that. It was never my intention to coach. I have some opinions on coaching. I don't think coaching is the best way. I think it's good for anybody to be coached, but I think people kind of underestimate like what a coach can actually do for you and if it's worth it for them. Because if I were to give a student, somebody, an hour of my time, they would pay for a session for like, I don't know, say I charged $100. I'd give them $100, go through their leaks, blah blah blah, say these are your leaks, blah blah blah, come back next week and we'll see if you've implemented my changes, and we'll discuss other things. Well, one, $100 is quite a lot of money for people to give away. Two, it's quite a lot of a time investment for me. And three, most people who do this kind of thing, a lot of people just don't commit to a lot of coaching long term anyway. So it's not really, I'm not really going to have from my point of view, it's not going to be super worth my time. This is why players who, like, I've heard people like who play the same stakes as me, they charge like $200 to $400 an hour. They're not making that much in an hour. They're not even making half that much an hour when they play poker. They're probably, you know, if they make $50 an hour, they're doing pretty well, in my opinion. So when you get charged $400 an hour for coaching, what they're basically saying is, my time is super valuable, and but the other thing I'm mainly saying is I know for a fact that you're not going to be coming back even if I give you a good rate, so I might as well maximize my money and what I can make through coaching now, because you're probably going to get 1-2 sessions with me, and that's it. When I was in a CFP, I never actually, I benefited the most from being coached. In my lifetime, I've had like 1 or 2 sessions of, I think, mostly free coaching from a guy who wanted to learn to coach, and the only thing he told me was you need to get value from your value hands, and that's a good lesson. Would I have paid him $100 an hour just to tell me that? No. He said, you play well, you just need to get value from your value hands. You just seem too scared, and that's good advice. But $100 an hour, $200 an hour. I mean, I had a coach. I gave one person a coaching session, and I told them the main lesson I told them is you need to game select, because it's because like that's the quickest way to increase your win rate, and it's true. But you pay me $50 an hour to tell you that. Like, I explain the maths behind it, but the thing that you benefit the most from coaching, in my opinion, is if you have one person who's that willing to, over a medium to long term, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, 2 years, to basically coach you on a strategy, help you run drills on the strategy and learn a strategy, make sure that you're executing a strategy, give you support mentally. I joined a CFP. I got all of those things. I didn't get consistent one-to-one coaching. They would have given me consistent one-to-one coaching if I'd asked for at least once a month, probably. But they would have given you it once every 3 months. I did all of that. I gave away over 50% of my winnings to them for 2 years. I paid probably I paid probably like 25k for that 2-year period of coaching. Now, it was insanely useful because I became a profitable poker player, but like, that's the actual cost of good coaching in this game. You need somebody to be your coach and support you for over a long period of time until you feel ready to go on your own. Like, you feel like, oh, I know what I'm doing on your own. And to be honest, after about a year with them, my old CFP, I felt I was ready. To be honest, after about 6 months, I honestly felt I was ready to go on my own. But, I still had to go through the contract and grind it out. And my attitude towards it was, well, I have to do this anyway, so I'm going to get the most out of this now because I'm paying a lot of freaking money to do this. So I'm going to get everything I can out of it. And a lot of people go into these things and they don't have that attitude and they end up just learning nothing. So yeah, if you go into coaching, if you want to coach, let me know. But like, I can't really say if I'm going to create a place to coach. I'm going to make a coach for profit, for sure, and I'm just going to basically, I'm not going to like do these like ridiculously long-term contracts or anything stupid like that. I'm just gonna, I'm not even gonna stake people. I'm just gonna give people. I'm just gonna be there for some students. That's what I would do. I would probably want people who played 50 an hour, 100 an hour, 25 an hour. I mean, I would take any stake, and I would ask for a percentage of their profits, and that would be it. It'd be built on trust. I wouldn't charge them $100 an hour. And yeah, that would be it basically. That's how I would do coaching. That's my opinion anyway. I'm not saying that like other coaches are bad. I'm not saying that like you can't get better, but I'm just saying that like, being realistic, if you want to get better at the game, it's not just your technical knowledge, you need everything to be there. You need to be a professional. There are lots and lots of people who are good poker players, are not professional, and they don't win money. They don't win the sort of money where you can live off. They need other sources of income. They need to keep working their job, or they're just not making the results. And I don't want to lie to people. Again, the final thing I want to bring up is this cash game, MidStakes CGW Championship. It is going to be 500 L6 max. There's going to be potential for non-ante and ante. I will probably play non-ante, I'm okay with playing ante. It's just that people who have played ante will be a little bit more experienced on ante. Yeah, and it's actually very, very interesting to me. It's like the fact that it's completely rake free is really significant because it really changes the dynamic. I've often complained about paying 8 to 10 BB per 100 in rake. Like, the fact that I think I would have a decent shot at like being somewhat successful at this, variance aside, because you're playing against mostly rigs. It's a different kind of battle than playing against recreational players, where you have to exploit them in different ways. Where rigs it's a lot more interesting a battle. yes, this is something that's very interesting to me. I do think I could win. Do I think it's likely that I would win the whole thing? Probably not. I think the general goal would be to be profitable though. But I think when I play GG, I am playing in an environment on 200 now where I have paying 11 big blinds per 100 in break, including value jackpot fees, and I've won at 4 BB per 100. So, you know, that is beaten the games including rake. If rakes wasn't included, that's beating the games for 15 big blinds per 100 hands. Now I have to say, I'm definitely never playing rake wars in those games. However, I do think I have a decent shot at winning some money, and I think it would be good content. So if you guys want to see me play, I would definitely give it a shot. I might not win. It's like no guarantees. I might be found out. You know, being profitable is probably the first goal, and then I don't really have the bankroll to like take too much of a shot at this game. If I play and I just lose 5 mines, I'd probably just quit, to be honest. So it's kind of hard. I think if you're in it, it's not. It's just something that would give me motivation to play. So yeah, let me know what you think. I think it's quite interesting. To be honest, like I said, I would miss at least a week. So the chance, even if I'm like hypothetical situation, and I guarantee this, I don't think I am for a second, but even if I like was the best player in the pool, which I don't think I am, because there'll probably be some good players, like really good players that would play that. I'm missing at least a week of it anyway, so it's very unlikely I would win it. But I would just love to give it a go, you know, and just test myself. So yeah, I'll probably do some content about that next month. Aside from that, I'm just going to say to people, you know, thank you for watching if you stuck around the video for this long. Yeah, and good luck to everybody, and I'll see you soon.